Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's special selection comes at us from Anders. Hey, this song just missed out on the Jazz with Unusual Instruments poll, but I'd still love to get a reaction for it. Jaga Jazzist, Oban. So that's what we're going to look at today. I had to go through 5 different interviews because apparently interviewers don't say the name of the band they're talking to anymore, which is kind of annoying. They just get right to the questioning. So they are Jaga Jazzist, though. That came straight from the guitarist, I think. Let's dive into this track Oban and see what's going on. Oh, coming in with a real strong sounds. Lots of keyboards. You got a vocalist that looks like trombone, bass guitar, electric. That dude's guitar's just laying down. Yeah. Yeah, really nice way of opening that idea up with the snare roll there. And the ghost notes on the snare. Yeah, I'm really loving that. Oh, dang, we got some bells here too. The bass plus the synth is such a fat sounds. Oh, nope, not vocals. We have a baritone. Somehow I missed that earlier. Really interesting pushing the brass out to the sides and having them fill the space while all the moving ideas are sitting here in the center. Those little accents in the drums, man. This is so good. That drummer sits right in the pocket and just nails it. All right. Bring those ghost notes back. Got the bells in here now. They're very light though, I can't hear them. There they are. I'm trying to figure out what that instrument is, though. I mean, it looks like a clarinet, but it's way too long. I mean, do they make contrabass clarinets? I guess so. Beautiful section, though. Oh! Bowing a glockenspiel, okay. It's really interesting how often we're mixing things that you have to play every single aspect with sequenced ideas, where you just kind of hold one key and let the sequencer take care of it. So it creates these really interesting textures behind this more traditionally played music. Really nice merging of both sides of composition. I'm telling you, man, this drummer is nasty. Yeah, and like turning the synth into another percussion instrument. Oh man, such a good idea. So much emphasis on the downbeats, the bells come in on the offbeats. And so I think the bells are also I don't know if they're sampled or if they're just captured by a mic and then being modified later. Oh, she ended up doing vocals. Very cool. Slide guitar. I mean, who would have thought of that? It's such an interesting line to put over this wildly moving synth on the low ends. I was thinking this is a beautiful way to end the track on a high note. And now we're going to do something different though. They're jamming, they're having fun. Can't take that away from them. That's the point of music, but man. I mean, I don't want to feel disappointed. I had 9, 10 good minutes of enjoyment there, just jaw on the floor, not believing what I'm hearing. Eclectic creation of jazz with modern ideas, instrument sounds, even modern composition. Just why does the last 90 seconds leave such a bad taste in my mouth? Hmm. Maybe we'll get around to that. Maybe as I talk my way through this, I'll understand what I didn't enjoy about that ending. I mean, just to start though, dude, I mean, even right here, let me pull this back up real quick. We have a list of our personnel here. Everybody is doing double duty at least. We got guitar and synth and FX, right? So just ornamental ideas. Vibraphone, guitar, synth. The drummer did a lot of work with the kit. It only has one instrument, but it's like a lot of instruments and so many ideas. Four limb things. So we're gonna give him a pass on that. And then the next person's just doing everything. Two guitars. Oh, it was a bass clarinet. I thought the bass clarinet was smaller. That's why I asked if there was a contrabass. Huh. I might have to go look that. Maybe there's multiple bodies for a bass clarinet too. I don't know. Also, though, synthesizer. Next person we have tuba, flute, alto, horn, percussion, and vocals. I don't think all of that was in here, although, see, I called that a baritone. Could have been a small tuba. Usually tubas are a bit bigger though. That looked more accurate to be a baritone, but also plays flute and alto horn, which I don't think we heard in here. The percussions had the tambourine, but I wonder if there's more auxiliary percussion there. I mean, she's got so many instruments that she's got to play. Bass and keyboard, trombone and vocals, synthesizer alone. But that dude had like four synths, so he has one instrument here, but handles a bunch of stuff. It's just there's so much talent wrapped up, pooled up in this band that it's not even fair. Other bands don't have a shot. Um, there's just so much of everything going on here. It's you never know what's around the corner, but it all kind of flows real nice. And I love it. Like out of nowhere, the guy just brings out a clarinet. Dude just puts on a whatever that device is called on the finger so you can slide across the guitar. I mean, the drummer completely shifts sounds. The synth completely shifts its tone. The tuba player puts down the instrument, begins to sing. You really can't underestimate anybody here. What's in our next section could be anything. What our next layer is could really be anything. You look around the room and you see, 50, 60 instruments, and you're like, you guys are going to use all this? You're like, yeah, in 12 minutes. It's just the sheer scope of this is ridiculously impressive, and then to say, we're going to use all this not for something experimental, although there is definitely some boundary pushing here, but we're going to play jazz. And you know, at the beginning of this, I was like, really? um, okay, let's see what you got. But by the end, I'm sold. This is modern. It's boundary pushing. It's experimental, but at its heart, it's jazz. It's got some electronica stuff going on to it, but it's groovy. It's got solo sections. It's got catchy A sections. It's jazz. There is no other way to describe this. And I'm just blown away because I've listened to a lot of jazz over the years. Admittedly, not a lot of modern jazz, but from what I've heard, it still plays really close to what jazz has always been. It's a genre that kind of hasn't evolved in some of the ways that rock and pop have. Even electronica, they've branched out into sounds that are very different. And aside from free jazz, jazz is still kind of when you hear it, you know what you're listening to. You're like, that's jazz. This feels the furthest away from the root that I think I've ever heard. And it's just I'm loving every bit of it. Hey, three of these people are in the same family, or that is to say, they all have the same last name. Very cool. I wonder if they're like brothers or something. I don't know. I want to look into the history of this group now. But yeah, like I think I got to get off this topic. I've been on it in a while, but there's just the sheer breadth of everything going on here is overwhelmingly awesome in like the most traditional sense of the word. And I just love all of it. Getting into some details here, there's a lot of electronica going on underneath most of these sections. Whether it's just a really low, punchy, gritty synth laying down the low end with the bass guitar, or sequenced lines that fill in as texture, or lead pads. There's always some synths going on. There's like four different people with a synthesizer in front of them. Actually, I can count here. Yeah, four. Wow, actually, I was really expecting to be off. Yeah, there's four of them. And like I said, one dude has like three or four surrounding him alone. So there are plenty of ways to layer up the synthesizers, and that's definitely the instrument I think that defines the band more than anything else. Is their adherence to, and at least in this track, their strict usage of electronic keyboards. No matter what section we're in, they are present, and it's what gives the entire track that very modern electronica flair to it. Most sections are even built up from the synthesizers. When the song starts, we have one that kicks in, and then a second, and then a third, and then we start pulling people off of the synths. But our main synthesizer player is still doing two of them at least. Layering up sounds. It's pretty much yeah, it is how every section starts is at least with a synthesizer. It is such a key component to the sound of this track. Um, and alone by itself, it's not jazz. It's really where all the other ideas stem from and play on top of, that we get some of the jazzy elements. It's the chord progressions, it's the licks, it's the solos, it's the instruments. You know, the bass is playing very jazzy ideas. The drummer, God, that dude, man, he's so good. It's kind of a rock style jazz, but it's still jazz at its heart. And there's so many cool little licks and fills the dude just uses across the entire song. Just man, I could gush about this drummer all day. The dude killed it. Every few bars, I'm like, what's he doing? Yep. I knew I was gonna be amazed. Like even on the more mundane stuff, there's a little extra flair to it just to spice things up a little bit. You can tell the dude comes from a jazz background. But yeah, so our rhythm section is definitely jazzy, but then bringing in the horns, I think that's a really important part to this. Without them, it would feel jazzy, but I don't know that I would classify it as jazz. I might call it like jazzy electro rock and use it as some sort of, adjective at the beginning. It's jazzy. It's not jazz, it is jazzy. It's like jazz. But with the horns specifically, the clarinet, especially during the solo section, but even having the two brass instruments kind of fill things out around in other places and do some stingers here and there and supplement most of this track. They give it that extra push it needs to go over into the jazz area just by simply utilizing these jazz ideas. Like I mentioned, the little stingers, the ways that they use, rising and falling uh, volumes, little licks here and there. I mean, it's so important. And so I think it's really interesting because to me, I'm like, hey, look at this jazz component. Look at this jazz component. This is electronica. This is rock. That's jazz. I would bet money they don't see any of that. They're just playing what feels right to them. And it just happens to be this new wave jazz. And I just think that's phenomenal too, because I think that's a really important part to being a trailblazer is to not want to be a trailblazer. I don't I don't think the band Death went out of their way and said, we're going to make a new brand of metal. They just went and did their thing, and it took off and branched out and became its own subgenre. I think that's how most of it works. If you go out of your way trying to be something new and unique, you're going to come off as too experimental or avant garde. I think that's where a lot of that comes from. But this just feels like a group of people who all just happen to meet and have this focused idea of what kind of music they want to make, and it's just so good. And the thing is, it's so fresh. It is electronica in the way that it rises and falls, and the way that it shapes the overall structure of the track. It's rock at some times with the guitar licks, but it has all these jazzy foundations to it too. And again, none of it I think is a concerted effort to balance any of it. It's just, what should we play next? Dude, that sounds sick. Let's do it. And I love that passion and enthusiasm. Now, structurally, the song goes through a bunch of peaks and valleys. We do a lot of building up of ideas. We strip them down to do a solo. We build up some new ideas based on the foundation for that solo. We strip them away to do a solo. We build up new ideas off of that foundation that was under the solo. That's how the whole song works. It's really just 3 sections plus our outro. And so we have this nice rising and falling, and I really love that third rise. It was after our drum solo, and we hit this peak, and it wasn't just a peak for the section, it was a peak for the song. Everything was sort of building to it. We might have hit this peak, and then we hit this peak, and then we hit this peak, and now it's just like the song is exploding. We keep adding layer after layer after layer. We've tossed in vocals for the first time. We have the vibraphone, the bells are doing this awesome thing. We have so many synths going on while we also have guitars playing and the drums are going bonkers, and there's so much here. And then just out of nowhere, we're in a completely different section that's missing all of that energy. And I think that's why the ending doesn't work for me, because the sections are all separate. They're kind of connected, but it's kind of, we have A, B, C, and D for our outro, and they're not they're not super connected in a way that they're telling a story. It's just, this was a cool section, that's a cool section, that's a cool section, this is a cool section. But honestly, the song does kind of reach a peak. And I think I would expect an ending to peter off from that, which I thought they could have easily done. Or, I mean, honestly, that's the only way I could have thought to end it, in a way that felt well done. And like I said, this ending, it isn't a bad section. It's just kind of meanders for a little bit, and it kind of hits like a 5 as far as intensity. So we're not low enough to really end the song, but we're nowhere near our peak. It feels like another section that should be building, and then it just doesn't build, and then they just stop playing. Like, it's not even a nice way to wrap up the track. It's just like, beat 4 of this bar we play, beat 1, no one's playing anymore. It's just a nice abrupt stop, and it just doesn't flow out of where we were. I don't know. They were digging it though. Like I said, they're enjoying it. They're having a fun time. I wonder how much of this is improvised. I kind of get the impression there's very rigid moments. We're gonna do 64 bars here, and then we're gonna go to our next section. We're gonna build up here. You're gonna do your solo there. Play whatever you want. You guys, just play whatever you want. Build off of this, and then we're gonna hit our third section. This kind of idea. But maybe that's it. It's all, maybe there's a lot of improvisation going on here, and that's why this felt a little less structured, possibly. Anyways, though, to just kind of end this on a more positive note, the song is a blast to listen to. It's like a party, an electronic DJ and a jazz band booked the same joint and at the same time, and they're like, well, we'll just play together, and they come up with this beautiful stuff going on here. And you can just jam along to it and just kind of like feel the beat and dance, or you can like really dig into what they're doing and like move along with their melodies and the story that the soloists are telling. The drummer's just, dude's just a beast. Yeah, I gotta listen to more of this, and I'm so glad that this got brought to my attention, because I don't typically listen to everything in the polls, primarily because patrons can request them again in a different poll. Maybe it fits for a different theme, but also because I don't I don't always have time to listen to 30 to to 40. Well, especially Wild Shifts week. This week we got 2 songs per band. I think there's like 60 songs in the playlist this time for the theme. I don't have that time. So to have this brought back to my attention and say like you missed this awesome thing that you didn't end up checking out. Yeah, I'm so happy for that. Thank you so much for this request. I'm gonna have to check more of them. Those are my thoughts on Jaga Jazzist's Oban. Let me know what you thought. Put your comments, ideas, perspectives, and opinions down in the comments section. Above that, in the description box, you can find a link to Linktree. It'll take you here. You can find links to my music, links to the Discord server, ways to support the channel, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. That wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.